Hey guys, welcome back. It's Pep. You're watching The Sentinel. In the short time I've been doing this and being very interested and passionate about fragrances, I've come to realize it's to my eyes that there are really three really big designer houses out there, especially in terms of male fragrances, which is predominantly what I've collected and worn, male marketed fragrances. And they, in my eyes, are Christian Dior, Chanel and Yves Saint Laurent. So I have a few of each. I have several of a couple of those houses, and I have three. I only have 3 Chanel fragrances at the moment, and I just thought I'd do a quick video where I will give you my top 3 from those 3. I'll start off the 3 Chanels I have, and in order, I'll start off with my third favourite, second favourite and favourite. So my third favourite is Allure Homme Edition Blanc, and I have an EDP version. I haven't worn this in a while because it hasn't been quite warm enough, or the weather's made me want to wear it. It's been talked about a lot as, you know, the whole lemon meringue vanilla thing. I get that, but it's a bit simplistic to just describe it as that. I really enjoy wearing it in hot weather, and the only, I guess, complaint I would have about it is I wish that it had a bit more projection and longevity. It's beautiful. Like the quality is there. I really enjoy the scent itself, but at the price that I had to pay for that bottle, it sometimes, leaves me wishing it would perform a little bit better. Second on my list for Chanel, this used to be my favorite Chanel up until recently, and that is Chanel Egoist. Lovely, spicy sandalwood rose, classic. I have the current version of this, and I have no experience of the vintage version, but I do enjoy this, and I do get very good performance from this particular one. It's when I first got this, at that point in my journey, I hate that word, in fragrances, I thought it was one of the best things and unique things I'd ever smelled, and it's still fantastic. It's still a fantastic masculine scent. There's a lot going on there. Up until recently, it was my favorite, and it's now been replaced by the legendary Antaeus. Again, I have a current formulation of Antaeus. I haven't smelled any vintage Antaeus, but this is, to me, just masculine personified in a perfume. The castoreum note. There's also rose in here as well. It's oak moss, and there is a beeswax, kind of note in there, and it's just, to me, it's thick and dark, and great performance from Antaeus as well. And I tell you, if the vintage was a lot stronger, then I would probably find that way too much, but this current one is just really, really good. So moving on to the house of Yves Saint Laurent, I have several of their fragrances, and I have to admit I don't love some of them. I enjoy wearing them, but the 3 that I do have in my top 3 here are loves for me. I will start off with Kouros. I have one of the last bottles with a silver shoulders, and I think, from what I can work out, it's like late 2009, maybe 2010. To me, it is everything I expect it to be, but I don't, you know, on my skin, Kouros is just a really great kind of animalic fougere, but I don't think it's too skanky, and you know, some people think it smells like, you know, a dirty bathroom, but I think it works great on my skin, and I get great performance from this particular bottle. My second YSL is YSL's Rive Gauche. I was lucky enough to find a tin can version of this, which is now Rive Gauche. I think you can only buy from the La Collection series, and apparently that one is reasonably close, but I was lucky enough to find the tin can version. It's beautiful, one of the classiest barbershop fougères. It's quite refreshing. It's got great performance. I find that it's, you know, all year round scent. It just reeks of classy gentleman. It's clean. It often gets likened to a really nice kind of shaving soap, but you know, it's got all the classic fougere elements. It's very, very clean. Nice. There's a nice aniseed note in the opening, and it really does dry down into like really classy soapiness. My favourite Yves Saint Laurent though is a current version of not vintage M7, but this is my M7 Oud Absolu, which is part of the La Collection series. It was one of my first, along with Tom Ford's Oud Wood, it was one of my first introductions to Western style ouds. This has got that really nice mandarin note opening. It's very woody. I describe it as a creamy, almost a creamy dark oud, and I get you know, pretty good performance from it. It ends up being soft projection and sillage, but that is like just beautifully dark, woody, and a great introduction to anyone who hasn't explored oud, and a lot cheaper than you would find Tom Ford's Oud Wood. So moving on to the final house, Christian Dior. I have several Christian Dior fragrances, and this one was a little bit harder for me to narrow down to three. My third favourite here is the original Dior Homme Eau de Toilette. So in the clear bottle, I have a current version of it. I don't have the silver stem version, but it's everything I want it to be. Yes, it is iris, that lipstick vibe, but it's still very masculine. You still get cocoa in it, but it is just light enough to wear for most of the year, and I like this particularly in the spring because it's not too big. I have tried Dior Homme Intense and Dior Homme Parfum. The Parfum I really love. I just found the Intense, even though it gets probably more love than the original, I just find that probably too much and less versatile than the original Dior Homme EDT. Second Christian Dior is one from 1988. It's the original Fahrenheit EDT. Has a massive amount of flankers, but I'm talking about the original EDT. I have a current version of this one, and from what I understand, the good thing about Fahrenheit and Christian Dior's reformulations in general tend to be pretty good. So I did have an original back in the 80s bottle of Dior Fahrenheit, and back then I wasn't into fragrances like I am now, and when I smelled this current bottle that I have, you know, it didn't lose anything. But if I had to say what I think I remember, that original one that I had back then seemed to be a bigger projector, a bit stronger, but it may have had something to do with the fact that I may have been overspraying back when I was younger. This still projects pretty well. Longevity is pretty decent as well for my current Fahrenheit. What's not to love about that violet leaf and petroleum smell? Although the petroleum smell maybe it's a little bit more toned down than I remember it as well, but it's classic. I think it's a legendary fragrance, and one that has really been, you know, sort of bettered from Christian Dior, apart from, I think, my favourite #1 Christian Dior. And sadly, I think that this particular version won't be around for too much longer. And I'm talking about the Eau Sauvage Parfum, and this is from the original 2012 release. This year it has been released or reformulated, different version. That, you know, it's got slightly different labeling. It's a 2017 release. Some new notes added, other notes replaced, but this 2012 version, if you believe it, there's only 3 notes in here, and they are bergamot, vetiver, and myrrh. It is wonderfully woody and resinous, and the bergamot and vetiver work really well. I think that it comes on bright, and it's actually my scent of the day. So, and to me, it's a fairly linear fragrance, but this is a good thing with this one. It is simple, but it just works, and the performance with 3 sprays is amazing on this. You get great projection, and I don't know, I think one of the reasons there's a new version out was to make it a bit more versatile, maybe a little bit more aimed at a wider market, as this one can be seen as an older masculine fragrance in terms of age, but it is such a good smell. And really, I really don't understand. I mean, I understand the thinking behind Dior releasing a new version that might sell better, but if you can get your hands on this 2012 while it's still around and while it's still at reasonable prices, I recommend that you do. So they were my top 3 from the top 3, and I hope you thought that was interesting. I want to know what yours are. Obviously, leave them in the comments, and I will see you next time. Thanks.